Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Amityville Union Free School District Board of Education meeting, November the 8th, 2023. And I am opening the meeting at 5:34. I need to note who present today is myself, President Lisa Johnson, First Vice President Jeanette Santos, Second Vice President Carol Seahor, Trustee Dave Heller, Trustee Leslie Kretz, and Trustee Walion. Also present is Superintendent Dr. Gina Talbot, Assistant Superintendent for Curricular Instruction, Dr. Joan Lay, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Dr. Bridget Waite, and Assistant Superintendent for Finance and Operation, Ms. Livy Watson. Also present is Council Lisa Hutchinson. And at this time, I'd like to have a motion to go into executive session at 5:35, right, for the purpose of advice from legal counsel regarding particular person's employment history, an update and discussion of negotiations for ATA. And also I want to note that roughly around 6:30, we will pause executive session and we will go into executive session for audit committee report. And that'll be roughly around 6:30, but that will be an executive session report to the Board of Education. Can I have a motion, please?
Second.
Jeanette Santos is first. Dave Heller is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. We will resume open roughly around 7:30 this evening. Thank you. Regarding a particular person's employment history, as well as an update and discussion of negotiations regarding the ATA, as well as an executive session. We had an audit committee meeting that occurred at 6:30, from 6:30 to roughly about 7:15. At this point in time, in the unlikely of an emergency, you need to note that exit the clay mark. Take a moment to silence your cell phones, no smoking on school grounds. Now please join the Board of Education in the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Heller. Go ahead.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would just like to take this opportunity to thank my fellow veteran ladies and gentlemen that have served in the military to keep our country able to do things like we did yesterday, which was to have a free vote, and also to keep our people and our country safe. This Saturday is the Veterans Day, which is the 11th day of the 11th month, and we celebrated at the 11th hour. If anyone is available to come down to the Village Triangle building on that morning, that'd be wonderful, and help us to remember our fellow veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Heller. Just as a reminder to all board members and to cabinet, when you are speaking, please speak directly into the mic, because what happens is that when you don't speak directly into the mic, or if you turn your head away, then someone who's listening someplace else cannot hear what you're saying. So please speak directly into the mic. Dr. Talbot.
Good evening, Board of Education, colleagues, and community. Tonight, we do have a presentation from our external auditor, Mr. Alan Yu. If he would come forward at this time, he's going to give a brief presentation on the June 30th, 2023 audit report. Thank you so kindly, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot, for that introduction. Good evening, members of the board, members of the administration, and members of the public. My name is Alan Yu. I am one of the audit partners of the firm Cullen and Danowski. Our firm was appointed as the external auditors of your school district's June 30th, 2023 fiscal year-end financial statements by the Board of Education. And as President Johnson mentioned earlier, I met with the Board SD Audit Committee earlier this evening to go over the results of our audit in detail, and I'm here to provide a summary presentation about the audit results. For the 2022-23 fiscal year, your district's general fund incurred an operating deficit of $8.19 million. Because of that operating deficit, it lowered your total general fund unassigned fund balance, which is the amount that people generally refer to as the rainy day funds, reduced it down to about $686,000. Your district does have restricted reserves of about $7.2 million, which the district has been utilizing for permissible purposes in terms of balancing the budget and paying for some of the expenditures such as ERS, Employee Retirement System contribution, as well as workers' compensation expenditures. The overall results in terms of the total revenues compared to a year ago, it did increase by about $5.5 million. However, state aid revenue did come in below budget by almost $725,000. And on the expenditure side, the total increase in expenditures, excluding capital transfers to the capital projects fund from the voter authorized capital reserve, that went up by a little more than $11 million. We're seeing the increases in salaries as well as the costs paid to BOCES, primarily for students attending BOCES courses, as well as occupational education courses offered at BOCES. There are also additional student management system rolled out by the district, which the district also utilized BOCES to provide those student management systems services. Additionally, the district's debt service payments for the new serial bond also began in this current fiscal year. We're also seeing the inflationary pressure on a lot of the costs affecting the district, such as fuel and utilities, and rising interest rates, since the district does borrow short-term notes, tax anticipation notes, as well as bond anticipation notes to provide cash flow for operations as well as for capital projects costs. So those those significant increases in the interest rates caused the district to have to pay more in borrowing costs. And as a result, the district's total expenditures and encumbrances at the end of the fiscal year did exceed the total appropriations budget that was authorized in the adopted budget. Okay. The employee benefits area also increased quite significantly by almost $2 million, as an 11% increase compared to the previous fiscal year. Retirement system contributions went up. That's a combination of higher contribution rates that were dictated by the retirement systems, as well as increased salary costs, which translate into the higher total overall contribution expenditures to the district. Health insurance premium also went up by about the total cost for health insurance premium went up by almost 13%, or close to $1.1 million. District also has to pay higher workers' compensation claims payments in the 22-23 fiscal year compared to the previous fiscal year, 21-22 fiscal year. So all of those factors help contribute out, and also there were additional security coverages that the district had authorized, and those additional security coverages at various school events and after school events also contributed to the overall expenditures increase. So the word of caution which I shared with the board is to really carefully monitor the current fiscal year 23-24 fiscal year's spending budget. And the district is projected to receive additional state aid revenue. So hopefully that will help the district bring your general fund unassigned fund balance or the rainy day fund balance up to a healthier and more stable percentage or level. That's the number. That's the amount that's typically limited to 4% of the subsequent year's budget. So that's the benchmark that New York State limits school districts to have in terms of the unassigned fund balance and rainy day funds. So ultimately, that's the amount that I would recommend to all school districts to strive to retain and have in your unassigned fund balance. In addition to the financial performances, we did also review the district's internal control over financial reporting, and there are some recommendations that we've made to districts in the past. Some of them have been fully implemented and corrected, and other areas are in progress. And I've made those recommendations to district management as well as the Board of Education in the form of a management letter.
Does any board members have any questions? Does any board members have any questions?
We had some.
So does anyone have any questions that they want to ask in public right now? Because I do have a couple of things that I do want to ask. So I just want to ask you, is that with some of these increase in expenditures that came across, these were things that were not anticipated as we did our budget last year. So it's not that we did not budget correctly, is that because these expenses far exceeded what we anticipated what they would be.
Correct. As an example, I didn't mention this in my presentation earlier. Charter school payments that the district is required to pay over to the charter schools. There is a number and amount per student that you're required to pay, and as a school district budget for these payments for charter schools, you didn't necessarily have the exact number of students who would be attending the charter schools in the upcoming fiscal years. The budget is developed in spring of the previous fiscal year, and then you adopt your budget, and then you go for the annual vote in May, and then everything happens in September. So that's one of the areas that your district saw more students attending charter schools than was anticipated and budgeted for. Okay.
President Johnson.
And also the BOCES, students attending BOCES programs, including occupational education. That's also that's also an area that your district saw more students opting to attend those programs than you had budgeted for.
Okay. Mr. Leon.
Thank you, President Johnson. Hello, Alan. I'm going to ask you the same exact questions that I asked you in executive session.
Sure.
The first question is, can you please tell us when is the beginning and ending dates for this audit?
Sure. So the audit was performed on your district's fiscal year, which started on July 1st, 2022, and the fiscal year ended on June 30th, 2023. We came in and external auditors, we always audit after the fact. So we began our audit in September of 2023.
Thank you. And Alan, can you please explain what is the total deficit that we currently have? Is that current as of now, or is that projected if we continue with our spending?
So you had an operating deficit, meaning you had a net loss for the fiscal year. But just want to clarify, the district's general fund currently is not in a deficit. the overall fund balance is positive. You have reserves of almost $7.2 million. Plus you have the rainy day funds of $686,000. Those are, you are in the black. So you're not in an overall deficit. So operating deficit is how I describe a net operating loss, net loss for the year, as opposed to a net income for the year. So it's as of June 30th, 2023.
Thank you, Alan. And my final question is, when you looked at some of the fund balances that had exceeded what was approved, were you comparing them budget to budget or actual to actual?
So the areas where I was explaining about the increases in the expenditures, it was actual to actual. It was actual expenditures for the 22-23 fiscal year versus actual expenditures of the 21-22 fiscal year. Okay, so where other areas where I commented that the district charter schools and the BOCES costs, my comments in those areas are about actual expenditures for the 22-23 fiscal year versus budget for those areas for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Very good. Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Just so the community knows that once the Board of Education approves the order report tonight, then it will be placed on the website for the community to review the actual order report. So the process goes, it has to be presented in the audit committee to the Board of Education first. It's done in executive session. And then from that point, we approve it as the Board of Education, and then it gets posted for the community to review.
Right. It'll take a few days.
Right, yeah,
Right.
because you have to, okay,
Right. I have to finalize the reports. Correct.
right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions from any board members? All right, Dr. Talbot? Anything else?
Thank you, Mr. Hugh.
You're welcome.
Please be advised that as we greet you, good evening, in response to the June 30th, 2023 audit report presented tonight, we wish to address these findings regarding our district's finances to provide added clarity for our entire community. After an examination by the district's external auditors, it has been determined that the district ended the 22-23 school year with a decrease in unassigned fund balance from approximately $4 million to $686,000. Some primary drivers, as we heard communicated tonight, contributed to this reduction, include services for our students with special needs within and outside the district, increased costs for safety and security needs, increased costs due to unanticipated charter school enrollment, increased health insurance and pension adjustments for retirees, and health insurance cost. It is important to note that some of these costs are directly associated with mandates required by New York State. We want you to know on behalf of this Board of Education, we are committed to ensuring our school district's financial health and growth, and will develop a plan with our Board of Education and auditors. We will update our school community throughout the year, and once the audit report is finalized, it will be posted to the district's website. We are determined to bring the year to a successful and sustainable financial close. And we'd like to thank each of you for your continued support of our schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Talbot. At this point in time, we will take community input regarding agenda items only. So community input regarding agenda items only.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Before I start, I just want to say, sometimes people take things very personal. The school district is a business and the taxpayers fund it. So that's always from which I speak. So I have questions on this agenda. I have two specific questions. First is about the transfers, which is C2 and 3. It looks like one transfer is from professional and tech services into section 11, which is the athletic governance. And then the next one is from social security into professional tech services. So I don't know why we're doubling that. Like, why wouldn't we just do social security into Title 11? And it seems like this Title 11 fees were unbudgeted for. So I want to know about that first, if I may.
Okay, Dr. Talbot, excuse me.
Sure. Thank you, Ms. Canestro. I'm going to ask Ms. Buatsi to respond regarding the transfers to C2 regarding the Section 11 fees, the additional monies as you're turning to locate it.
Yeah.
Those additional monies of $24,000 was a part of us going to the playoffs and additional fees that we had to pay to Section 11.
Okay, that's no problem. But why are you going, like, it seems like you're stealing from Paul to pay Peter. Like, why wouldn't you just take it from social security then into section 11? Why is it like a two-step? If you're following me, why is it social security into professional and tech into Title 11? Why wouldn't we then just take it from social security into section 11? If you're following what I'm saying.
So the question is, we are taking from professional and tech services, health services to pay the Section 11 fees.
And then
And
you're
then-
funding it, that professional and tech, by taking from social security. So it seems there's an extra step in there. Why wouldn't we skip that step?
The budget codes are slightly different. Professional and tech services have more than one category. And I'm going to ask Ms. Buatsi to share because it
Yeah.
looks like it's taken from the category, but a separate line item
Yes,
under
I
that
see that.
category.
Yes.
Just,
me-
Miss
let me-
Miss Buatsi, just make sure that when you speak into the mic, just speak
I'm
directly.
trying.
just
Is it
speak directly.
better now?
Yeah, what
Yes.
happens when you turn your head?
Yeah,
That's when, so just keep it directly with.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll investigate your question and get back to you with exactly why it was done that way.
Okay.
But there's always a reason for, going through the two-step process.
Okay.
So.
If you could let me know what that
yes,
reason is.
yes.
Okay, the second question I have, which I really don't understand at all, is on October 31st, the district clerk resigned. You're approving an agreement for him to act as a consultant. And I'm reading exactly, for the purpose of transition and providing training, guidance, and assistance to the appointed district clerk. However, I did not see any posting for a district clerk. It doesn't seem there's a district clerk posting for a job. So I'm unsure of who he's transitioning, providing training, guidance, and assistance to. And nice to see you, Christian. But if he's here and he's acting as district clerk, isn't he acting as an employee, but he's not an employee right now?
So to answer your question, we posted for the district clerk in OWAS and it ended on Friday, this past Friday. And so we received 19 individuals who submitted an application for the district clerk. We, as the Board of Education, have reviewed all the submitted applications. And what we're gonna do now, I just got all the responses back from the board. I'll collate that. And then we'll make a decision on who we're going to interview for the district clerk position. We're hoping that when we go to do the interviews, if not next week, then the week after, that we will have someone, let's just say that we interview next week. Someone may have to give their job either 2 weeks or 4 weeks notice. And then from that point, if the person has no district clerk experience, then we do need someone that can help show that individual how to do the roles and responsibilities of the district clerk.
Okay,
So
I
so
understand what you're saying. There's a time like this, but
let me
okay,
just finish.
sure.
So then also during this timeframe, being that there's so much that's happening, we as the Board of Education decided that we would utilize Mr. Code as a consultant. He was only gonna, I think it's a maximum, I don't have it in front of me, I think of 95 hours for a month.
Yes.
So it's not like he's gonna reach the 95 hours, but if need be, as we get a new person, or even before we get a new person, he will be available to assist us just for certain timeframes, whether it's going to be meeting, and doing different things. So it's very limited in terms of what he'll be doing and how many hours he'll be doing it. Once we do hire a new district clerk, then if that person has no district clerk experience, then we're gonna ask him to help train that person into that role.
Okay, just one last point on that. When you have 19 people, I would hope that somebody has experience in 19 people. But a school district usually goes from one clerk to the other. There's not this whole we're training somebody. So
It-
that's almost essentially having two people doing the same role then. So I just have concerns about that I wanted to voice and
No,
share.
and I appreciate your concerns, and because that's one of the things that it all depends on the applications that we receive, and I have to remain confidential.
Okay,
If there's no one that has no district clerk experience, then we're gonna have to meet
Okay.
someone. If we do have someone who has district clerk experience or several people, then we're not gonna need him. So
Okay.
we're not gonna utilize them if we don't need them.
okay. And again, that is a business question. It's nothing personal. I just
No, I
wanted to
understand.
understand that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding agenda items only at this time? All right. Seeing none, I'm gonna move forward. Going to agenda item 2A, 1 through 3. Can I have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I missed you.
Hi, Margaret Schuff, Amityville. Sorry, I was looking for the number to give you and I don't have it in front of me, but I think you'll understand what I'm talking about regarding the $110,000 transfer of an invoice that was 3 years old. That was, I don't know the number, so I'm fishing through my paper.
No, thank you for your question. That's not part of the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why
No.
did I think, I must be confused. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I am not prepared. I thought it was part of this agenda, so I apologize for that. I lost my train of thought. Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Any other community input regarding agenda items only? Okay. Seeing none, can I have a motion for agenda item 2A, 1 through 3, please?
So moved.
Just speaking to Mike, Dave Heller is first.
Second.
Carol Seoff is second. Just be advised, the minutes for October 4th have been revised and updated. Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0. Just for purposes for agenda item 2B, 1 and 2, this is the second reading, so we're not voting on those particular two items. Does any board members have any questions regarding agenda items 2B, 1 and 2 as the second reading? All right, seeing none, so we're not voting. So next,
I believe it's for adoption.
Right.
Second reading and adoption.
all right, so I apologize. I've just been informed that we're gonna make it the second and final reading. All right, so for agenda items 2B, 1 and 2, this will be the second and final reading. Does any board members have any questions regarding agenda items 2B, 1 and 2 for the second and final reading? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, for agenda items 2B, 1 and 2?
So move.
Jeanette
Second.
Santos is first and Leslie Kretz is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C1? And can I have a motion for agenda item 2C1, please?
So moved.
Carol Seoff is first,
Second.
Leslie Kretz is second. Just for discussion purposes, I need to make you aware that for the plan, it was posted as 22, 23, but it is 23, 24. Is that correct in resolution, Dr. Talbot? Any other questions regarding the district-wide safety emergency management plan? All right. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 2C, 2 and 3, please?
Motion to approve?
Juan Leon is first,
Second.
Jeanette Santos is second. Any questions regarding these two agenda items?
No.
Right, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion to amend the agenda to add the audit report that was presented to the Board of Education this evening? Can I have a motion to amend the
So
agenda?
moved.
Leslie Kretz is first,
Second.
Carol Seahorn is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion to accept the audit report as presented to us in executive session today and into the public as well? So move. Jeanette Santos is first.
Second.
Dave Heller is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Ms. Kretz, did I get you?
Aye.
Okay, sorry. Motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion to approve agenda items 3A1 through 3, please?
So moved.
Leslie Kretz is first.
Second.
Carol Seahorn is second. Any questions regarding these items?
Madam President, I do have a discussion item. Just so that you know, in light of the audit report that we just saw and me not really having a clear view of our finances going forward, I am not comfortable saying yes or no on this. I will be abstaining.
You have to either say no or yes, Mr. Leon. Just,
No, ma'am, I gave the reason.
you don't, legal, please advise, can he abstain or does he have to vote either yes or no?
So if he has the information.
Can you just speak into the mic, please?
So the commission.
No, it's not on.
Hello?
There.
Hello. So the Commissioner of Education has opined that if a board member, any member of the Board of Education has the full information with regard to a matter, they would seek for the board member to either vote yay or nay on it. Typically, abstention is used if you have no familiarity or are new to the issue. So that's what the guidance is from the state.
All right, so I'm sorry that just for, thank you, Mrs. Hutchinson. It just came to my attention that these agenda items, 3A1 through 3, are they not supposed to be on here? Just for clarification.
This was produced to the board last night. It was pulled this morning. The public sees that there is no 3A1 through 3.
Okay, so, excuse me, Ms. Hutchinson, Mrs. Hutchinson, so I just,
So you adopted the agenda as presented, so you're just going to amend your motion to approve, it appears personnel B1.
right, so I just rescind that,
You're going
motion.
to amend your motion to approve as opposed to, I think you said A1 through 3.
Yes,
You're
so,
amending your motion to approve. Are you making a friendly amendment to your motion to approve B1?
so I'm making a friendly,
Friendly amendment
amendment to the
to
motion
approve,
to approve
B-
agenda item 3B1. please.
correct.
Yeah. Do we have a motion for agenda item 3B1, please? A motion, Carol
moved.
Seehoff is first,
Second.
Leslie Kretz is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0.
Negative.
This is for 3B1.
Personal action.
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's 3A, 1, 2, 3.
I
pulled?
just said
was-
that
Not on the agenda.
I amended the agenda
It's not on.
for
3A1.
a motion to do the motion for 3B1.
You have the.
Oh,
She amended her resolution
Yes.
to go from the 3A 1 through 3 to rather ask that there be approval for 3B1.
I stand corrected. Yes.
Right, so just so the community knows, the agenda that I was working from was an updated agenda that we received yesterday. When we came in today for executive session, there was another agenda that was received that was revised, that item was removed. So I did not change my agenda. So the Board of Education has the correct agenda. I don't have the correct agenda. So that's what happened to that one. Okay. So can I have a motion for 3C 1 through 6, please?
So moved. Second.
Leslie Kretz was first and Carol Seehoff was second. Any questions regarding, no, Jeanette Santos. Jeanette Santos was second. Any questions regarding these items? Right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3D1, please?
So moved.
Dave Heller is first,
Second.
Carol Seehoff is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion for agenda item 3E1 through 3, please?
So moved.
Second.
Secrets is first, Dave Heller is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Can I have a motion for agenda item 3F1, please?
So moved.
Carol Seehoff is first,
Second.
Leslie Kurtz is second. Any questions regarding these agenda items? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries 6-0. Mrs. Hutchison, do you have anything to report?
No, nothing to report.
Dr. Talbot, do you have anything to report?
No, there's nothing more to report.
Thank you. At this point in time, we will take community input regarding non-board agenda items only, please.
I don't want this to cut into my time too much, but as an audience member, I have no idea what just went on and what the agenda item is that Trustee Leon was objecting to. It was super difficult to follow.
Okay.
And I just looked online and the agenda online is the same agenda as this.
Right, so the agenda that you guys have, you don't have anything.
We just have 3B1 is
Right.
personnel action. So
Right,
that's
so-
correct.
Yeah, that's correct. So what
Okay.
what happened was I have an old agenda that I received last night. There was revisions that
Oh,
occurred
okay.
during the day today. When we came into our executive session, Mr. Cole gave us the updated agenda. What I did not do, I did not take that
Oh, so you
updated
would talk
agenda.
about something different.
Right,
Okay.
so those items were removed from the agenda.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. I just want to
You're
ask a
welcome.
couple of questions. I forgot to ask about the district-wide safety emergency plan. I wanted to know, did you put in the remote learning aspect with specifications? Dr. Talbot's shaking her head yes, so I guess that means yes.
So hold on a second. So your question, did we put that in?
Did you put in specifics to Amityville? She's
So
shaking her head
Dr.
yes.
Talbot,
Yes, there were two primary changes added to the plan. Thank you for your feedback
Great.
last week. And that was the emergency road instruction. And we just added a statement about what we're doing with SEL through the ruler program.
Okay.
Mhm.
Two other quick things. I came across something super disturbing. I found Instagram, an account with fights, vicious fights in the high school that are posted, vicious, like brutal attacks on other children. I've learned of a high school teacher who was barricaded in her classroom by 13 students, wasn't able to get to her phone, her classroom phone, to ask for emergency help, had to yell, which is why the district-wide emergency plan is so important, because that addresses a lot of this. I do understand there's a survey out by the union because teachers feel increasingly unsafe. As a community member, I'm concerned. You don't know that? Yeah. There's it's brutal. I'll show you after this. Brutal. I'm concerned not only for the teachers, I'm super concerned for the children in the schools. I want to know, are the police being called when this happens? It wasn't like a flicking of books. It was somebody was being assaulted, really. That's the first question. Can I ask my second question? Okay. The second question is, at the last meeting, like I said, you used to have draft agenda with the agenda, and I don't know when that stopped or why that stopped, but when you were speaking about this receipt from 2023, you just received a $110,000 invoice for 2020, and it was on the agenda, but I did notice, that's why I didn't talk about it, that it's not on this agenda now. I would like to know what happened with that, because I was super concerned that you were going to pay that without it being encumbered, without any proof, without a purchase order, without internal documentation, without the claims auditor, noting this. So what happened to that? Was it BOCES vendor, was it on the BOCES vendor approved list? What happened with that? Was there an investigation? And also about the fights at the high school?
Right, so, I can start to, do you want to answer in regards to the 110?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
So the invoice that was received for district-wide science supplies, that matter, the invoice was received into the business office in 2023. So we have done some investigation as to what transpired between 2020 and 2023, and we're still unfolding that, including a pending conversation with the vendor. The vendor is an approved vendor. The vendor supplies board-approved curricula items for our schools. So we're still investigating that matter. The materials were received, they were inventoried, and so everything was in place. We are now addressing why the late receipt of the bill.
Right, no notice of claim, right?
No,
There's no notice of claim. So if there's no notice of claim and no purchase order, I don't know why the board would be approving that.
So just for clarification, last week, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Last week, the transfers that were being referred to, it was incorrectly, Ms. Watson had said that it was the 110, but that was not the case. The transfers that were referred to were the ones that were on the agenda.
Oh, yeah, that's why it was confusing.
It
That's
was-
why a lot of this tonight was confusing.
Yes,
Okay.
that's why the two transfers that were on the agenda tonight were the two ones that were actually taking place. The $110,000 has nothing to do with these transfers.
Will the board commit to reporting back to the community
Yes,
on the end
sure.
of the investigation, how we do that? Again, I can't encourage you enough. If there's no purchase order, no internal documentation, I don't know, and no notice of claim 3 years later, I don't know why a Board of Education would pay that with our tax dollars. And
So just so you know, just kind of pause it again, just so you know, the questions and the concerns that you are expressing are all the same things that we have expressed. And that's why Dr. Talbot is looking into it further along with Ms. Bawatsi.
Okay, and I also want to compliment the board and the board president for being much more open and transparent and answering questions. I do appreciate that. And Dr. Talbot, as you know, I'm a pretty hard critic and I do appreciate it. So I just want to know about the fights, if the police are being called for these assaults.
so at the high school, we are focusing on improving our school climate, improving our school culture. So first and foremost, I just want to respond in the context of what the reality is and what our efforts are. So safety is a priority. That is evident by our administrators and our faculty and staff building cohesion around building expectations and following through on those. We are in the process of embarking upon school-wide incentive programs, restorative justice initiatives, mindfulness, as well as consequences and disciplinary infractions are being addressed. At the high school, there has been a heightened number of incidents that have concerned each of us on varying levels. We have had several meetings with our administrative staff. We've met with our security staff. We've met with additional staff members, our monitors, and we are putting processes in place to address these. We've been having meetings with students, and very soon we will be having our round robin meetings that we're calling them in terms of meeting with small groups of students. Several administrators will be a part of this. The administrative team have put in some additional practices and processes as we're building systems and structures to turn those situations around. We've increased our communications with parents. We've communicated our expectations with students. I have seen some of the sites and some of these things that have taken place. When we can identify those students who are a part of that, then we're having conversations or we're addressing it. Some of it is old and some of it is
So,
recent.
so no police? Police aren't being informed of this? Or they
Police are our partners on many
Okay.
incidents.
Okay,
Yes.
and the other thing is there was a hold in place. So if children are being held in place for 2 or 3 periods, please just tell me why you're doing that. They're being held in a classroom for 2 or 3 periods. Do you feel the other children are not safe?
So if there's an incident that takes place toward the end of a period, the or near transitional time, then the safe next step is to hold your building still for a moment while you clear the hallway or address the matter that's involving more than one student. I'm not aware of any hold-in places that have been that extensive, but we can certainly inquire. It's only been the additional minutes necessary to clear the halls so that students can go on to their
Okay,
next
thank you very
periods.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding non-agenda items?
Hi, Margaret Schaff, Amityville. Ms. Johnson, do you want a cough drop? I have them in my hand.
No, I have one.
Okay,
I've taken one.
Very
Thank you
good.
for asking.
you're welcome. So I have a doozy for you, okay? So as you know, I came up to the podium last year, Ms. Talbot, you do not, about an individual who sent me an anonymous email in form of harassment because I'm an outspoken advocate for these kids, but I'm also a critic of the body in front of me because it is my right to criticize. So recently, my employer received a phone call identified by an Amityville School District personnel and complained that I was sending emails from my work email. I get lunch, I work 12-hour days, I have a computer in front of me, and if I can write an email, I'll write an email. And so they called me out. They said, you know what, Margot, what's the deal? Amityville called. What are you doing? I said, writing emails on occasion. It happens. I'm here 12 hours a day. It's probably the only time I have. So they said, well, we'd like you to refrain. You know the policy. I said, you know what? You're absolutely right. I will refrain because I'm a rules girl. I am protocol girl. I am a process girl. So that being said, I will refrain gladly, but it's not going to make me stop. It will never, ever make me stop criticizing for what you do, your lack of intellect, your lack of passion in getting these grades and stats up for these kids. So just on record, the harassment against an outspoken community member has got to stop. Okay? All you anonymous email people. Okay? Yeah, okay. Very good. Have a good day.
Thank you. Any other community input regarding non-agenda items?
Nakia Wolf, 100 Avalon Court, Melville. Good evening, Dr. Talbert, Central Administration, Board, colleagues, community members. This evening, I just wanted to take this time to say that we hope that it is that the board was in receipt of our correspondence, that it is that we sent out. We hope that it is that the board would take the opportunity to take consideration as it relates to that correspondence, so that we can move forward to coming up with finalizing these negotiations. Thank you.
Thank you. We did receive your correspondence as an entire board, and there'll be a response back to you in regards to them, what your question was. Thank you. Any additional community input regarding non-agenda items?
Hi, good evening. Danelle Cronin, 32 Mill Place. Ms. Johnson, I hope you feel better. A little honey and water will be Little Manuka and Huddy.
I've been
goes a long
working
way.
on it all day.
I just have a quick question. I'm just in reference to the district statement that was mailed on the district website on October 25th for community input for charging for use of facilities. Now, after I listened to the gentleman give his accounting report, my thoughts changed a little bit, but I'm going with my initial thoughts. I congratulate the board for obviously opening up the facility to the children and the children of the taxpayers. My concern is that if you put in extensive fees, and I'm only looking at what's been approved on this board agenda, that it'll limit the children's ability to participate in these various organizations. I'm looking at requests by the soccer league. I'm looking at requests by minority millennials. And if you approve what was presented at the committee meeting, this is an extensive amount of money that has to come from somewhere. So I'm hoping that, as Dr. Talbot has indicated, that you'll look to tighten the budget in some capacity. However, I would hate to see the children who have parents that are taxpayers to absorb that additional cost. And the gentleman who runs the Minority Millennial League through the MAC organization, I applaud his efforts because, you know, it states right here is that the proceeds will go towards his program, which is decrease gun violence here in Amityville. So would you please make sure that you think long and hard before you extend those fees to other members of the community, which will duly affect the children most of all. Thank you, and please feel better.
Thank you. Any additional community input regarding non-agenda items? So at this, I'm sorry, any other community input? All right, so at this point in time, I just want to let the community know that we received from Dr. Fulton yesterday evening a letter resigning from the school board. Dr. Fulton has given 13 years of fantastic service to the Board of Education, to the community, to the students, and to the staff of this district. It was a hard decision for him to make, but he wants to focus in on his health, and that's why he made the decision to resign. So I just wanted to let the community know that Dr. Fulton has resigned from the Board of Education effective yesterday at 5 p.m. At this point in time, the Board of Education will make a decision, as we have a couple of decisions to make, if we want to fill the seat for this year. And if we do decide to do it, we will do the same process as we did before, which is that we would receive, we will make a notification in the proper channels, and people can submit a request to be part of the Board of Education. We will interview the candidates, and then someone will be selected. If that process does occur, then what happens is that person is in place into the May 2024 election. Then that person has to run for the seat, and then they're up. Then if they win the seat, then they stay in that seat for one more year until the term was up. So we can do that, or we can wait until actually the election and someone could run. So the Board of Education, we just got the notification, so we have not decided what we're going to do, but we definitely will keep the community informed. So that was something that was not expected from us. And I also just want to make clear, there was comments in regards to the policy committee and the making it that we were violating the open laws, and that we got some clarification again from legal. And when we have our policy committee, we don't have a quorum of the board. We only have 3 members from the board that are there. So when you don't have a quorum from the Board of Education, it's not violating the open meetings law. And we don't have to post, and we don't have to make it open to the community. So as we move forward, the Board of Education will decide whether or not future policy committee meetings will be open to the public. Mrs. Hutchinson, did I miss any points?
You did not miss anything. Correct. You are 100% correct. if and this is pursuant to your policy indicates that your committee meetings are less than a quorum of the board. They make recommendations, so they're advisory only. Advisory committees don't make final determinations, and as a result, are not subject to the open meetings law.
Thank you. Does any other board members have anything else they want to say?
Just wanted to comment, if any of our residents have an opportunity to go up to the Northeast School and see our beautiful new playground for our children. It's about 95% complete. They have a little bit of landscaping and a fence that needs to be removed. This is something that was voted on by the residents 3 years ago, and through our bid process and state education approvals, it's taken this long for it to be completed. But it is beautiful and it's appropriate for the age of our students at that building. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Teller. Any other board members? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn at 8:29?
So moved.
Oh,
Second.
hold on a second. I'm getting signals from legal in the back. All right.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so can I have a motion to go back into executive session for advice from counsel regarding negotiations, right? Can I have a motion to go back into executive session to receive additional advice from counsel
Second.
regarding negotiation? So that was Leslie Kretz was first, Dave Heller was second. All those in favor? Aye. Just so the community knows, I don't think there's going to be any action that we're going to take afterwards, but you're more than welcome to wait, and I expect that maybe about 30 additional minutes, roughly, about 30 minutes. All right, thank you. Open at 8:58. I do need to note that Carol Seehoff left and she did not attend the executive session. But everyone else, all the other trustees, as well as the cabinet, was in executive session along with attorney John Sheen. Can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:59?
Yep. Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Juan Leon is first,
Second.
Dave Hella is second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Thank you for joining us tonight.